Nsem-Pii TV nie.
You want to call baby Nsem-Pii TV platform yi eso. Now, ene yenim say at the Economic and Financial Division 2 of the Accra High Court. Yes, the ambulance saga sign etwaso. Na Nsem-Pii free mobile dey na nsem bebre na Nsem-Pii TV as usual. Yeah, mamo the key points anka say ne ekoso ewo court. Afi so no the way forward said the beya case ye betimi close in term na judgment etimi aba. Etie function so say on July 31st legal vacation shall yes and 11th. Na say acha 2 to 3 weeks from now legal vacation lawyers judges the courts omoko ahomejimo and they are going to resume in the second week of October 2024 and at the new legal year 2024-2025 no ebe chance here. Inti cases be a pending or court CCA say by July 31st judgment entimi ama. That means say the cases will be postponed to the new legal year ebe chance here second week of October and representing the legal year 2024-2025. And nunti enene Justice Efiase Wasarubutwe na ni abriye ewo court or the strong warning Emma Richard Jakpa and I feel so the council led by a lawyer Ashia and I feel so no the second council Yura Thaddeus Sorry. Now Justice Efiase Wasarubutwe made certain pronouncements and certain rulings to the effect that say ono die time of the Richard Japan say in Krakatoa the Babeda court say obefre 8 witnesses and then 11 July the na court also trust and then say Japan's first of those 8 witnesses now was say and oba court not only na December 2 na cross examine and no was say the court into justice if you ask us between and over trust no nim say cross examination and witness statement of Japan's first witness of 8 and Emerson. But Obedru court no, Richard Jakpa and the lawyers told her something different about say Omawaku Supina, Ghana Armed Forces Secretary, Omasanzwaku Supina, Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babin, and Oma Supina, a friend say Alexia Befiane Omokekahon. Justice Efiase Wasarubutwe Emo TSA, May 2024 and 8 witnesses here almost supina because they all refused to testify. And as a normal being some witnesses at the amount of Japan. So you have to use a legality, a subpoena to bring them to court by force and testify. At this issue of subpoena on Nsem-Pii 2020 elections at Baso, petitioner ETA 2021, the NDC led by Lawrence Jakpa tried to subpoena EC Chair Jane Mensah to appear in the witness box to come and testify and to undergo cross-examination. But no, the Justice of the Supreme Court, who said no. I was said, "Wo na wo the assembly, he will just go to proof. We have been provided any better evidence beyond and you're so damn in such in China. I was say Jane Mensah ever testify into your subpoena no or my too. But in this case, you must say Justice Efiase Wasarubutwe has admitted all these subpoenas are Japadiaba with regards to 8 witnesses or double friend on Wajiatum, and so Ghana Armed Forces Secretary and Wajiatum, Speaker Bababindi and Wajiatum. And the entity on the two, she made explanations regarding that. Say with general subpoenas, and yes, another subpoena, say any subpoena ad testificandum, a legal term. Now, I got a full be say DNT and a Supreme Court, the young to know we are Jatum. The difference is this is a criminal trial. In a criminal trial, so Ghana actually say you have to prove beyond every reasonable doubt. Sing Panabone and Powedi. And it is a 1 year and 2 ama subpoena ya Japan lawyers the buy. Some go for you woman ama mediansia, ama media dancia. She will be limited in making a judgment. And nunti and Amagia Tum says, I need pango tree, Japan subpoena or Mumbra will be testify. Afi further 2 subpoenas are almost at the back and so no. And also a gentleman or testify. Justice Efiase Wasarubutwe, I'm almost strong warning. Said the next court sitting, next week, she will consider the case closed. Now, or the judgments about Betuja because say the can legal vacation and check. Now, one thing that Nsem-Pii TV, our throughout this court process, and I say, and hearing no media station, and I say media outlets, we are report to is another statement that Richie Jakpa assigned a year during a cross examination in the office of the Attorney General, Ama Nsem-Pii TV and Saka through the law platform. Now, Richie Jakpa has implicated again another former Mahama appointee, another NDC guru, Dr. Dominic Akorotinga Ayine. No, during John Dramani Mahama era, no, a Deputy Attorney General. Yes, Deputy Attorney General in John Dramani Mahama's era. Now, Richie Jakpa see a Dr. Ayine and the two nifo as her authorizing a letter of credit for payment for ambulances. That just say now it's not only at forcing, it is not only Sektepe, but Dr. Dominic Ayine, no, a Deputy Attorney General during the time ambulance 2.37 million euros scandal in baso. Now you said the Attorney General or a lawyer near Ojinema State. I also too abiding for regarding legalities. Niama abiding Nukushima Ebeboa, and Niama abiding Mushima Emwa. And Jakpa says, say Dr. Dominic Ayine, and the two for advice, no, kind of the first one device letter, no, and the letter now call a man in setting your Kansika Wopeno, a man at the train as soon ye kakra. It sounds initial course examination, the man there said 10% of people did Jakpa, I near 700,000 euros. I gave me quite saying 700,000 and Cabana Bono because 700,000 represented rather 28.7%. It is say outside because our Attorney General moment advice, with regards to the issuance of the letter of credit, that means this whole illegality was organized by the then government, and now that is the question among Fubibisa. Now, Mr. Richie Jakpa has cited the respected and learned Dominic Ayine as playing a role in raising the letter of credit for the purchase of the ambulances, which have been determined by the court to be worthless. Mr. Jakpa roped in the former Deputy Attorney General into the facts surrounding the purchase of the worthless ambulances when the learned Attorney General sought to suggest to Mr. Jakpa that per clause 4.42 of the contract between the Ministry of Health and Big C LLC, payment for the ambulances were to be done after the delivery of the ambulances and not prior. The then Attorney General suggested to Mr. Jakpa, in line with suggesting that the payments were to be made upon delivery, requested that the third accused and witness read paragraph 4.2 of the contract. Jakpa he vindicated the suggestion of the AG. Now, Mr. Jakpa at this juncture sought refuge under an advice rendered by the then Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine as the basis for the authorization of the letter of credit. Per a read of the advice under the hand of the learned Dominic Ayine, the state was obligated to undertake obligations under a financing arrangement for the purchase of the ambulances. And just say ambulances now. Segbefia Mosi and Yanosherati Muso Montiasiano, Jakpa Fetri, and Dr. Dominic Ayine, Eko Kudin Komo, and Dr. Dominic Ayine, a tuno for quite obetimia faso and maneuver away. I timia truck rata, the actoso de Amono Richie Japano, Amanatimi Aquaco Tuyasika, and the Ama Big Seafui, which goes against a contractual terms. Na buying any Big C for NACO to the Ministry of Health. Now, the then Attorney General made conscious efforts to suggest to the accused that his co-accused, the minority leader and former Minister of Finance, Honorable Case Atoforsen, wrote a letter authorizing the payment of monies without request from the Ministry of Health for such payments, and also contrary to the letter of Honorable Sherry Ayite, directing a disengagement of the ambulance deal. Mr. Jakpa failed to point out a specific portion, but rather chose to read out the entire advice to the displeasure of the presiding judge. Now, the AG yet again suggested to Mr. Jakpa that the Ministry of Finance did not adhere to the dictates of the advice of the then Deputy AG and the contract terms between the Ministry of Health and Big C's, as the authorization for the letters of credit was contrary to the said letter and contract. Mr. Jakpa, in response to the non-adherence by the Finance Ministry to the terms of the contract and the advice of the Honorable Ayine, suggested to the court that he is no fiduciary to the state. He is not a fiduciary to the state. He said, The then Minister of Finance, Honorable Secretary, was to be held answerable for the non-adherence. I just say, Kratanga San Dr. Dominic Ayine so Etroino, Attorney General GA, Efri Jakpa Hawking Kaimunu, whom say Dr. Dominic Ayine, even after his advice, referred Jakpa back to the contract, said the contract never hold mundi actually say it is only after delivery and it was a mutuaska and year before delivery. But still now, Kesa at to force and throw a letter, a payment before delivery, Emma Ghana Boka. That is what the Attorney General says. And Richard Jakpa say, oh no dear, he is not a fiduciary to the state. Because a fiduciary is will be no and legally and ethically, or acting as a safeguard between one party and another. I will make sure say Ubia Moka, Ubia Unkonkodi. Then say in this case, the fiduciaries in this case were supposed to be Nsem-Pii and Case out of force because they were working at the Ministry of Finance. Or more than also on Bogan and Sikahomai. Or making sure say contract it has been honored and signed and make payment. But they didn't do that. And Jakpa say payments be consua. Even after Dr. Dominic Ayine advised 7 moments no case out to force and throw letter and coin, the payment be a consua. Any crimes on no Japano, any blame because Ghana ha, you fell to me be a man. And maybe I'm back and be a Shannon Sasa no also a Ghana Sikaso, na Ghana and Moka. This is the statement that Richard Jakpa added to court name. So this is another angle to the ongoing ambulance saga in 18 Pimo. Now we are next week. Proceedings also are Richard Jakpa, 8 witnesses, including representative of Big C, Ombabe Dia Dance here. Now Ombabe Chirim, how Richard Jakpa said they were established before 2012, and as after 2012, Big C in some time said they were established 2003, and a host of other things like Jakpa Aircan say Big C are authorized to produce ambulances. Also say the vans and produce. So all these contradictory statements and as statements are clear-cut explanations are going to be given. Here, the Speaker of Parliament, Aban Babin, Ayosupina Nonosu Babin, and Babi Jina de Kamua, and now say on also be filing a counter application against the subpoena because he was working at the Ministry of Finance. I want to lay groundwork here and sign a free hop. Ama Sharia Timo, Ababe Twaso, and the Shebefia Moababe Twaso. And Tinami Adoma next week, court, I bet na say, na CCA, Yenti and then said the court proceedings is equal Yankasa.
So, with the answers you've managed to solicit from Richard Jakpa, where do you think the case would go once everything comes to a conclusion?
I will not be judgmental, but I will just stick to the facts. You were in court today. You heard issues about the post-inspection done by the former government, which Jakpa said was done mischievously, not our worst. He said it was done out of mischief. You were in court. When he also said that when it comes to the ambulance, they were not meant to be used. You were in court, you heard it. You were also in court when it came to the date for the delivery of the ambulances, and then he said it was in January, and he finally had to come back home. You were also in court, and you heard about the ambulance having been delivered in 2014, December. So the previous government had over 2 years to have, if any, remedied the situation. Why not?
He said at the time it wasn't handed over to government. It was supposed to be kept at a safe place for the installation of the accessories, training of paramedics before it is handed over. So it will not be accurate to say that it had been handed over to government at the time. He explained in court.
But you listened to him when he read the letters of Honorable Segbefia. So those ambulances are vans, not my words, the words of Honorable Segbefia. You also listened to his reading of the letters by Honorable Sherry Ayine, who also said they were not vans and that they should stop manufacturing the said ambulance. So from all indications, you realize that what we have in court now, from the letters that he read, not our evidence, their evidence, the ambulances, with all due respect, from their own side, are vans. And with the vans, how do you use them?
Vans in the sense that it was not supposed to be used as ambulances at the time.
But you see, there was this issue about conversion. You see, AG decided to take him through that one, and he decided to just rely on the heading. That's in evidence. We decided to also let him know that you may have the heading there, but the details do not match what we claim to be the heading. And so the ambulances, as we have them now, you go through all the exhibits that we have in court, and you make your own judgments. As I said, I will not be making judgments here, but we have succeeded in putting across our case strongly that Mr. Jakpa gave his evidence in chief. We've also confronted him to our side of the matter, and the judge definitely made a pronouncement on this matter.
Away from one of the things that Nsem-Pii said, he described the Attorney General as a local champion who is only good at fixing matches. What will be your immediate response to this particular attack on the Attorney General?
It is rather unfortunate. My brother is a lawyer. The Honorable Attorney General is an astute lawyer. He's a well-read lawyer, a revered lawyer. He knows his stuff. And so if he decides to say that he's a match fixer, I mean, I don't understand him. Go to the law reports, go to the Supreme Court of Ghana law reports, and look at the case that he's done at the time that he was in private practice. And from 2016 to date, I can say without any fear of equivocation that if you look at the ages that we have in Ghana, if it's not the best, he may be one of the best when it comes to his courtroom appearance. And look at international arbitrations. An Attorney General who leads his team to go on international arbitration and win cases internationally, not local. So if you say local champion, what does it mean? An Attorney General who is able to boost the staff strength of the ministry, giving them the training such that now we do not pay millions of dollars to external solicitors. Only few of them. Most of the cases that we have on arbitration, he leaves. So does it mean that if he goes outside to fight those cases, he also goes there to fix matches? I mean, it doesn't make sense if you say that he fixes matches.
You kept referencing some documents, exhibits, and he kept referencing the Attorney General to a 2016 letter by Alex Segbefia, which he says voids those letters that you were relying on. What's your reaction to that?
That is own belief and his thinking. We are not going to assess the evidence, but when we file our addresses, you see how we are going to tackle all those things. When did we hold elections in Ghana? Was it on the 7th of December? And how was that letter written? So I'm not going to talk much. The letter was written post-2016 elections. So what was it meant to be? I'm not going to conclude. Make your own deductions. In the address, we will come out with all these things.
One thing that actually happened today was the introduction of the link by the court to ensure that virtually everybody anywhere in the country can look at it. On your side, how do you welcome this particular question?
I think it's good because I think today not less than 500 people joined. That was the maximum number. And it's also a decision that was made by the Chief Justice, which the judge conveyed to us. There are a lot of people who want to have access to the proceedings. And I think moving forward, this particular case, people can have access to it and then look at it. Because after all, it's a public matter that we are holding these hearings in the public. Just that it's within the confines of a court. So the moment you have this system where people can just view it online, it expands the frontiers of the justice delivery system in Ghana.
Will the AG make cases for more of such things to happen?
I'm not going to speak the amount of the AG, but I think it's a positive step. It's something that if replicated is going to help us.
The issue where Richard Jakpa raised that the container that contained the accessories had been emptied and indeed it was currently in a different country, China to be precise. Well, how do you respond to that?
If you are alleged in court, what do? Don't you have to prove it? Leave it there, let him prove it.
So do you know exactly where the accessories are right now? He says they can't locate.
He is making the allegation that the accessories came. It is his duty to lead evidence to that effect. In any event, what were they meant for? And why from 2014? So what happened between 2014 and 2017 January? What happened? Had the container arrived? If it had arrived before that, what was done to it? I mean, I'm not going to be judgmental.
It begs the same question again that at the time they were brought in, they were not supposed to be used. So government was supposed to clear the accessories, get them installed before it's handed over to government. Within that period, that couldn't have happened. You would agree?
But go and take the exhibit. The exhibit V, the contract. Whether there was any mentioning of a conversion, properly so-called, that they should bring ambulances here and they convert them. That's why he's seeking to say that they were supposed to. But the evidence that we have is to the fact that they are purely vans. Do you want your mother to be placed in a van?
Van in the sense that it wasn't
disposed. I mean, we must look at it well, because if I'm indisposed and you are bringing in an ambulance, I must be rest assured that the ambulance I'm going to be placed in is a proper ambulance, but not a van.
Chair, you'd also agree that he's made this point, and the judge kept asking him to move on because he's made it over and over that the buses, as they were at the time, were not ambulances and were not supposed to be used by the government of Ghana until the accessories were installed. At that time, it wasn't done, so you can't call it an ambulance which were defective, correct?
You see, we did not conduct the post-delivery inspection. We came to meet it. And that's why he was saying that the former government did it out of mischief. So is he saying that, Mr. Segbefia, is he saying...
Nsem-Pii will no more, now Nsem so it is. Now show on my YouTube channel.
Be the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.